We're in the spring part, or getting to the spring part of the sports schedule. It's 23 degrees outside, so it doesn't really feel like spring. I mean, it is mid-January, but what that does mean is we're a couple weeks away from softball getting rolling. So with that, we have welcomed back Aileen Morales for the third time, I believe, now to Scions of the Southland, the head coach of Georgia Tech softball. Aileen, thanks for coming back.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys taking time on this chilly day to talk about some softball. So always a pleasure to be here and excited to get rolling with this 24 season.
It's going to be good. Firstly, I realize, I mean, I guess off-season wise, you're doing recruiting and stuff like that, but what does go, how was your off-season? And then two, what goes into an off-season for a D1 softball head coach?
Yeah, so I mean, we wrap up, season and get rolling basically into recruiting. So summer is a pretty busy time from a recruiting standpoint as you're working on the next classes and trying to identify talent. For me, I made some changes on my coaching staff, so it was also pretty busy
Yeah.
from a recruiting a staff standpoint. So really really excited about how the staff shook out. Hunter Bunch joining us as our hitting coach and excited about him. He's been great to work with and exciting. Just a new voice for the hitters, which,
Hmm.
at times you just kind of sometimes need to make those adjustments and have a different voice in there. And so he's done a phenomenal job. I hired Kelsey Bennett, who is just out of playing at VT. Great career.
Hmm.
I've known Kelsey for a long time, since she was a player coming up out of high school. And so she's been a great voice just in relating to the players and being able kind of to help with hitting and defense and just kind of a little bit of a jack of all trades, which is nice. And
Yeah.
as she's starting out her coaching career, it's cool to see her learn and develop and bring some different insights. And obviously coming from a super successful program
Yeah.
at Virginia Tech and an in-conference foe, that's just always huge to add that diversity on the staff. And Erin Dixon joined us as our pitching coach, which she's was at Georgia State at one point in time, was at Wilmington, and did her GA time at LSU. So she's been phenomenal. Pitchers love her, and just been excited to build that staff out. And also our ops is Devin Bolin, who he's
Mhm.
just a great stat guy. So there's a lot of really cool energy and just great, you know, great adjustments, and I think the players have been thriving off of that, and it's been exciting to see. So yeah, my summer was pretty busy,
Yeah.
to be honest, in filling those roles and making sure we find the right fit for the staff and what we need here to recruit at Georgia Tech, and then rolling into recruiting and building out that 24 class, which
Yeah.
right now, of course, I don't have the stat off the top of my head, but we signed a ranked 2024 class, which Hunter was
I'll
a
get
big
there.
part of
I'll get
that. And
there. Yeah, I'll get
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's coming
as
up.
that was the summer, right? So the
Yeah,
summer
yeah.
is securing, making sure we're finalizing that staff, making sure everybody's staying on board. And um, then we get into the fall, and fall, the players are here, and it's just a lot of development. So, August through basically Thanksgiving is, begin with new staff, everybody getting to know each other better, but
Yeah.
then like implementing systems and just development. So each player on their own development plan, helping, let's improve what we're good at, and let's, make our weaknesses a little bit better. And that's really the chunk of fall. And then you're back recruiting
Yeah.
again on
Yeah.
another class. And so,
Yeah.
I think December is the little bit of downtime, and then we're here in January, and it's 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and it's go time.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fall was a lot of fun. We I feel like we were going pretty consistently as a coaching staff, and in whether it was, everybody getting to know the players more and developing those relationships, and then also on the other side of that is is
Yeah.
is the recruiting component. So I think as a coach, there's not a ton of time for downtime in those windows.
Oh
So
yeah.
December is usually a time for us to kind of recharge so we can get
That's
going
that's the
for
beach time. That's
season.
that's that's the Mexico trip and stuff like that. Knock
That's
those
the
out then.
beach time, but it's not always the best weather. So,
That's a
maybe
good point.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe fill in a 4th of July beach trip if
There
you
you go. Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
or some things there. Yeah, a couple beach trips, small ones if you can,
Right. Right.
around the right time. But yeah, that's kind of how it goes. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I was gonna bring up the coaching staff. I assume. I mean, I've seen Aaron post a bunch on Twitter and stuff like that. It seems
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's been fun. I'm curious, and this can go for the players and the coaches too. What's your pitch? Like, what about what is the differentiator about Georgia Tech that you use to say, hey, if you come here, you're gonna get X, Y, Z?
Oh, I mean, you're talking about what, top four, top three institution in the country. So, I mean, number one, the degree and what that's going to do to set you up for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
The city, as an adult living in the city, working at a Power Five athletics institution, that's appealing to a lot of people because there's other things you can do with that little bit of free time you
Yeah.
have, right? So I think it's a different pitch a little bit for staff than maybe 16 to 18-year-old,
Right,
right?
right, yeah,
But I do think the because you're in a city, what that affords you is opportunity, and whether that's networking, resources, internships. So when you're talking to females who are gonna, at the end of the day, graduate and go
yeah,
on to have a career, just the breadth of reach that Georgia Tech has is unmatched, and so that alumni network is huge. The softball piece of it, obviously, we want to compete at high level on the ACC, and so I
yeah.
just think it's the best of both worlds.
Speaking of pitches, I remember distinctly the second to last game last year during senior day. Chandler and Dennis and Blake Nelman were part of that celebration, but they're back for their COVID year. Did you have to pitch them to come back? Did they just want to come back and volunteer that? How did that go down?
Yeah, I think one of those for them was, they wanted to have their senior day with specifically Blake with the crew that she came
Yeah,
in
true,
with, and
true.
obviously
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Chandler transferring in, but kind of that was the group that they all came in with. So, they had already said they were planning to come back, but
Cool.
for them, I think Trish did her senior day a few years prior and then did it again because she came back for a
Yeah,
fifth
yeah,
year. So, it's just one of those where they want to kind of have that moment with the other teammates that they came in with. So
yeah.
yeah, but obviously having both those arms back is huge for us.
No, it's huge because you got that, and then as you mentioned, the recruiting class, number 7 according to extra innings. And I remember
There we go.
seeing the names drop in. I was like, wait a second, these are good, and they just kept adding up, and we are like, oh, holy crap, they did some real work this year.
We
This is
did some work.
fantastic.
We did.
Um, so take me to obviously. So you knew Blake and Chandler were coming back, but take me through. And most of the last year's squad was on the younger classmen side in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So take me through what you diagnosed the needs were for this year, and then how did you approach, or what was the goals, and then filling them out.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we're just looking at current roster, obviously, I think from a pitching standpoint, we needed to clean some things up. Just being and truth be told, we were beat up a lot last year. Like there
Yeah.
was a lot of at a lot of positions, and so we just weren't healthy, and some of that was in the circle, some of that was in other starting position roles.
Mm.
We had people in and out, and managing that in the course of season is not always easy, right? Because there's
Right.
really no break. So number one was, gosh, just being healthy, coming back healthy, maintaining a good level of health through the fall, so we're not beat up coming into spring, and that's huge. From a pitching standpoint, I just think we needed to be around the zone a little bit more. We walked a lot last year, and so that's been a huge emphasis of just
Mm.
like let's attack batters, and I think that's going to pay dividends. And we're going to pitch more as a staff. We've got more arms. We use Blake and Chandler a ton, but Sophia, Kinsey, Jaden Studebaker, they're gonna throw, and they're gonna throw more, and so that's important for us is to get those innings and experience, and see how they develop and how they fit into the puzzle, because we
Yeah.
will need everybody. From a returner standpoint, we've got a ton of returners, right? Madison Dobbins, who got injured towards the latter end of the year, which
Mm.
was a big hurt us a lot at that
Yeah.
point because of how well she was hitting and where we were in our schedule. So her being back healthy was huge. Ella's been a consistent starter for us.
Yep.
Edgman, Abby Hughes having a breakout year last year.
Yes.
Her and
Yes.
Dobby, right? And we had some freshmen coming in as well, right? Paige, I'm kind of looking through their Paige. Got some good innings. Reese Hunter. So those are huge, and I'm really excited about that senior class. They're like Jen, Mal Black, all of them kind of
Yeah.
coming into their senior season and wrapping things up, and just seeing that growth and development has been huge. But yeah, I mean, I think for us, we've got a couple freshmen in. Matt Caulfield is a lefty who can pitch and can also play some outfield. So just another arm in there,
Mhm.
and to give it a different look. And we look to have Emma Mangini get out on the circle some more and throw some innings for us, who she hasn't really in her career, but she's come along a great way, and proud of the work that her and Aaron have done together. So that'll give us kind of two lefties to
Nice.
add into the mix, which will be good because we didn't have that in
Yeah.
the
True.
past.
Yeah.
But yeah, and obviously, God, I'm looking through here, right? Like Grace Conley, SB Allen, like just people who have produced. SB Allen had a great year for us last year as well. And so I just see a ton of like kind of actual game experience at a high level after last year. Maybe we didn't get
Yeah.
all the outcomes we wanted, but that experience is immeasurable, and I think that's going to pay dividends in this year's schedule.
I remember looking at going through last year's schedule. Like it was brutal. There was a lot
Oh,
of.
it was a gauntlet.
It
Oh
was
yeah,
so many awesome teams. It's super high skill level. That I mean, home or road didn't really matter. You were facing the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and this year it's on both ends, it seems, because you're going to Clearwater, and then also just the ACC exists in
Yep.
general, and so it's
Yep.
gonna be a lot. I did want to go through the new faces though.
Yep. Absolutely.
So let's go to Matt Caulfield first. Who I want to read off the stat line
Yep.
that y'all posted for the listeners. 0.36 ERA, 237 Ks, 0.77 batting average against, and 6 runs and 18 walks and 118 and a third innings of work in 2022. That's insane. That's insane. Yeah, I mean, you said she's a lefty, which is obviously going to work great against countering your
Yep.
veteran arms. So what are you seeing in her?
Yeah, she's just, I mean, just super competitive. Really like just wants to get better, like, and is kind of crafty, right? Like it's from the left side, it's a little different, got a good change of speed as well. And so the kid is just competitive. And that's what I like, those types of players. Like it doesn't matter what the scenario is, she wants to win, she wants to beat you. And I love that about her. And she she's got a great work ethic, and she's had that since she was younger, and her mom instilled that in her. So it's just it's I'm excited to see how she kind of develops and fits into the staff. Yeah.
That'd be great to see. And then yeah, I guess we got a couple lefties now. Everyone's throwing. Yeah, I imagine hopefully there'll be some games where you can throw 3 arms and throw 3 fresh arms that
Yeah, that's
can
the goal,
carry
is
you
to be
through a
able
big
to,
game.
is to be able to like balance that out, and really pitch like a staff a little bit more, so that we are healthier come, conference play. Because
Right.
the front end of the schedule is, I mean, we play a ton of games the first 3 weekends, and it's pretty,
Yeah,
it's loaded, and there's some great competition in there.
for sure. Gracie Hillman, Alabama outfielder,
Mhm.
came from, what is it, Hoover High School.
Hoover High
A,
School.
a town I had not heard of until I looked at her page. So learning some
Yeah,
geography. But what's her deal?
I think our junior year, I think she set like the season hits record at Hoover, I
Oh
think.
shoot, nice.
Potentially, yeah. And I could be misspeaking,
Oh
but
no, there it is. Yep,
yeah,
highest season average in school history in 21. So yeah, there you
yeah.
go.
And Hoover's had some pretty good athletes come out of there. So yeah, lefty, great speed, which fits into kind of what we want in our offense, which is to be able to run and steal bases. High on base percentage kid, played on a national championship Bolts team in PGF, and so yeah, just again, hard worker, probably a phenomenal outfielder, technically one of the best or most sound athlete or outfielders that we've had. And so just a lot of tools, a lot of measurables that we're excited about. And yeah, she just makes things happen on offense, and great reads on the outfield.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Continuing to Lasseter High School train, Grayson Tucker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Multi position infielder.
Yeah.
What utility girl. I assume that's cute. A huge ad just to have that malleability.
Yeah, Tuck, man, she came to camp. She's been coming to camps for like 6 years. It's funny. She sent like a time hop to me. Her dad sent me a time hop, probably, gosh, towards the end of the fall, and it was so funny. I'm like, man, she's taller than me now. But it was like pictures when she was shorter than me, little braces, and I mean, just, man, she swings a big bat, and just, I mean, she doesn't get cheated in her at bats. She's been working on left side of the field for us. I mean, had a really good fall. Impressed with what she did in her pitch selection. So, someone that I think could come in and make an impact. Obviously finding how we can put the best 9 or 10 on the field is always a fun challenge as a coach. But when you have multiple people who can compete for the same spot, that makes it fun and interesting for me. And that makes, that means our team's in a better spot. So
Yeah.
She's pushing some people, and I mean, just really great approach at the plate, good eye. And so excited for her as well. And yep, that little Lassiter train, it's funny. We had Blake, and now we've got her. And so we're keeping that rolling for sure.
Nice. Yeah, never can have enough depth, as I'm finding out more as we watch these ACC teams. Like it's most sports. If you don't have the depth, it's not going to happen. So
those 3-game series, and those games can get. I mean, we're not baseball, right? We're not playing 9 innings, but man, sometimes those 7 innings feel like they're 9.
7 innings, doubleheader days where you play at least 14, up to 14, possibly less, possibly more today. Yeah, no, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Lastly, Tiffany Demeng transfer. So dipped into the portal.
Yeah, so Tiff's a grad transfer. And like, just when I got on the phone with her and talked to her, just like we just connected instantly. And just, I mean, Tiff had a great career at Upstate. I mean, ton of, I think, home runs in her career, and power like that. She's got great eyes, and her exit velos are crazy good. And so yeah, just someone that I saw with experience, who put up good power numbers over the course of a career. And I think that's, and somebody who wanted an opportunity to play, maybe a little bit
Mm-hmm.
at a bigger level, not in any way knock it where she was, just, had 1 year left because of COVID and
Yeah.
wanted to, play somewhere else. And so all things kind of aligned, and, she's been mixing and working over at second, and, she's done a great job over there. And again, another really, really quality bat that, again, how do we fit all these pieces together, right?
Right.
To put the best matchup. But I'm really happy with how she's integrated with the team and fit in with the team. And it's been exciting to see, because she's just great work ethic, and
Yeah.
just comes in there and goes about her business, and, came in there with something to prove, which again, I love that.
Yeah. This is of the, if not the last year, we're going to have COVID
Yeah.
seniors
Yep.
around
Yep.
to I don't want to say, ask if it's like a relief that you don't have to worry about that anymore and stuff like that, but does it feel like there's just some sense of like, okay, we're back to the normal
Yeah. I mean, I think
cycle and now that we're going to be out of this pretty soon?
I think there's a piece of that where you're like, man, like I feel like some of these players were in school for 6 years, right?
Right,
And you're
right,
like,
yeah.
right, and so it's like, okay, I swear she should be graduated by now. But yeah, there's a layer of that when you're projecting out your rosters. But the other counter to that is, now that there's a transfer portal, the rosters, you hope they stay the same, but you
Right.
never know. It's
Yeah.
it's easier to leave, and or it's easier to get on both sides. And so I think that there's definitely pieces of that for us where um, we definitely have benefited from from that extra year, obviously, with Chandler and Blake having
Right.
another year, and getting Tiff and Trish a few years back. So, we'll take that, and but yeah, I think it probably will benefit the younger kids coming up through, because those rosters and those things have been, a little bit heavy loaded with
Yeah,
with
they've been
with
top heavy.
older.
Yeah, they've been top
Yeah.
heavy for a while.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Schedule wise, we mentioned Clearwater, which,
Mhm.
just talk about this gauntlet here: Stanford, LSU, Minnesota, Northwestern, Tennessee, Oklahoma State, and then finally, so not a rest, but at least not that for a little bit. Um, I know this is one of the biggest
Mhm.
spots to
Yeah.
biggest tournaments to get it in
Mhm.
college softball. What does it mean in terms of like just a publicity portion
Yeah. Well, I
to
mean,
get out there? Is it getting in this important not only for just to have the games, of course, but to put yourself out there and give yourself the test of like, okay, here's how do we stack up
yeah.
against teams that we wouldn't
Yeah.
face until a tournament?
Yeah, I think it's twofold. One, you had to get invited, and you get invited based on, your performance. And so, coming off of that 2022 season, we get invited to this tournament, which they do it a year out.
Yeah.
And we earned that opportunity to be there. And I think that's the first thing, is you earn the opportunity to play on this platform, and it's a great opportunity to, promote Georgia Tech, softball. And great players want to be in those environments,
Yeah.
right? The recruits right now who are watching it, the 16-year-olds, they want to play in those environments. So
Yeah.
us being, I mean, it's a free advertisement, right? And
Yeah.
so to promote our school and our program, and so one, like, heck, if you want to be the best, you got to play that level of team. And to me, playing them early in the season is a great opportunity to kind of benchmark and see where we need to improve,
Right.
and hey, what are we good at, right? And that's a great test to try some different things out, and so that we're on a good pace when we get to conference play, and we have a better identity. And I think the first 2 weekends, we got Alabama coming here as well, so it's
Yeah.
intentionally like front loaded a little bit, so that we can be prepared for the challenge ahead come conference play, because I do feel like the year before we kind of just we weren't maybe as prepared, and ultimately that falls on me, but we weren't as maybe mentally or physically in the right space to go through that gauntlet. And so some of it this year was intentional to, hey, let's be prepared, let's learn from that experience last year.
Right.
Let's take this head on right out of the gate, and you got time to figure stuff out, and figure pitching rotations out, figure defenses out, and this is the best opportunity to do that with
Yeah.
high level competition. So it's going to only make us better, and it's going to set us in a good path come conference play, for sure. So really excited to be down there. It's a huge tournament. I mean, everybody, people want to be accepted to it. People want to,
Yeah.
Want to be in it. And so I know as a team, we know that there's some tough competition. I think we counted, Devin and I were counting just a little bit before we came in here. I think we have 8 of the top 25 teams in 1 or 2 polls we're playing in our schedule. And I think about 7 of those are within the first couple weekends. So
There
we
you go.
know very
Yeah,
much that,
you'll have the sense. Yeah.
yeah, that challenge is right ahead of us. But I think that where we are as a program with the experience we have, we should be prepared to handle that.
I'll be excited to see how those games go down and
Yeah, yeah.
not watch y'all freeze your butts off. And
Yeah, hopefully I'll be in some shorts.
yeah, last year I asked about NIL because it was like right at the right as it was really getting going. The tech we had just went back and listened to the tape and it was like, well, we don't know because there was nothing to know yet really at that time
Yeah.
last January. A year later, how has that developed for you? Is that something you've been more in touch with? Have the opportunities grown for your players in the last year?
Truth be told, I kind of stay out of some of that just because, like, I'm not supposed to be using it to,
Right.
negotiate. And so I really am kind of hands off with it. I do believe there's more opportunities. I think as the more we donate and the more, our alumni invest, the more that trickles down to all our sports. And I think that's important. But
Yeah.
truth be told, I kind of steer away from them, try to stay with the X and O's of coaching. But I do think we're on the right path. We did have a couple players get some NIL opportunities over through iFolio, and I just want to
Mhm.
shout them out. Jean Marie and what she's doing with her company, being a tech alum. I think they have it might be 10 to 15 female student athletes with some types of NIL deal, then it's an
That's
important
cool.
uh, charge for her, and it's a mission for her to try to help provide those opportunities for our female student athletes because you know as you look forward, investing in women's sports matters, and being able to have female entrepreneurs who are doing that in the cities is huge, and then
Yeah.
tap on that she's an alumni, right? And so I just think that continuing to network and use our resources and use the women, the female entrepreneurs in our city is huge because the players that are coming out of here, that's who they're going to be eventually, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so it just seems like a very unique and smart partnership. And so I really appreciate what she's done for some of our players and some of the other female student athletes, and she's always been great for me.
No, I think that's the ideal of what that would look like
Mm-hmm.
for
Yeah,
people at Tech is there
yeah,
are the Tech grads and the people that care about the
yeah,
institute and
yeah,
have the resources to support the
yeah,
athletes. And so
yeah,
yeah, I think that's easily one of the best
yeah,
examples of that we've seen so
yeah,
far. Um, Last year you said the goal was ACC championship. I assume that is still the case because
yeah,
that is still the trophy and competition y'all
yeah,
play for.
yeah.
Um, is there like any? I mean, I know you said there's benchmarks for players and their progression, but like is when you're talking to the team, like is that the stated goal in front of them? Like, hey,
Yeah, and I
we're
think that
shooting for
when
this.
we talk about it, I mean, we talk about in the fall, regional. Once you get to a regional, you got it's anybody's ball game,
Yeah,
right? And so our schedule is very much structured for an opportunity to do that. We just got to take care of the games, right? We just
yeah,
got to go out there and compete and do that the right way. And so, I don't get into a bunch of individual goals. I think that's for them to kind of set, but from a team standpoint, 2 years ago we were playing in Gainesville the regional, and they all know how that felt. Almost everybody on this roster was there, and
yeah.
they want that back, right? And we want that opportunity again of being in the dance, right? And so I I think that whether you win a conference championship or not, if you put yourself in the right position, you have an opportunity to go to a postseason. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, yeah, I think our schedule is set up for us to be in a good spot from a conference play standpoint to have a higher seed. If again,
Yeah.
last year's schedule was I
Yeah.
mean, just when you look at the percentages, like trying to fit in that 1 through 4 seed, we had to do some serious damage, and
Yeah.
I just think our schedule this year is a little bit more conducive for a higher seeding, and we've got to take care of that.
Be good to see. There's one game I forgot to play with you last year that I do with everyone I interview, and
Okay.
It's Tech favorites, and you are uniquely qualified for this because you are a Tech grad as
I
well. You
hope I
spent a
hope
lot
I
of
don't
time.
mess this up.
Oh, you'll be
Okay.
fine. Very easy. First one, favorite food spot near or on campus.
Ooh, is this like now or when I was a student?
Give me when you were a student, because this might be something I wasn't there for.
Oh, for sure. Come on, Rocky
Okay.
Mountain
Yeah. Yeah.
Pizza.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm gonna give a shout out just because to Woodruff Dining Hall because I had to live over there and I did eat at Woodruff Dining Hall. I don't even think does it even is it still there
No,
right now?
it's gone. No,
It's still in the village,
I
right?
talked to Kenny Thorne last week, and he brought it up, and I got to campus the year that it switched from Woody's to West Village. So
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I just
You
missed the
missed Woody's.
legendary I missed the
Yeah.
legendary buffet.
It was just nice because it was so close and you could
Right.
just, pop over there because we used to live on West Campus. So um those would probably be my two right now. And then if I were gonna go, if for right now, if I were gonna go grab some food quickly, so Aaron and the girls put Aaron on this, but Aaron put all of us on it. Is Chiba Hut.
Yep. Yeah. That
Chiba
stuff's
Hut.
fantastic. They
So
are
I never.
fantastic.
That's gonna be that's a if we go to a quick staff lunch right now, we're hitting them up. So
That's a good spot.
yeah,
Yeah. I like
yeah.
they're gonna grow a lot. That place is gonna get big.
I mean, who doesn't? I mean, where else can you find Kool-Aid like as your drink option?
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Like,
Um, yeah. Favorite? Do you have a favorite tech professor from when you were a student at Tech?
it's getting a while now. We had Stuart Milne. He was a HR professor, I think, or maybe it was math. He was an interesting bird
Hmm.
in a good way. Um, I had a CS, so I had a CS professor. Now I can't remember her name. Like that's why I feel so how terrible, right? That I can't remember her name. But she, like in her intro, she showed her like she did her like bio over her, and I took
Yeah.
her in a summer class, so I didn't even like go half the time, which is not great. But it was a summer session, and
Mhm.
I was playing softball over the summer on a team, and she she had a picture of her cats and all this, and she let us like bring like a dog to class. Like we had the dog in class, and it was like not a thing, and it was fine. And I like so that was like my one CS class I had to take. So like
That's funny.
Roberta, I can't remember. Yeah. So yeah, I need to do better with that.
There's
I
been some
gotta
turnover. They might not be around anymore as well.
yeah,
But
yeah, I don't think so.
and then lastly, favorite building that is not the softball field. Can't use the softball field.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Um so my favorite build, I think Clough is like one of the coolest buildings just because you
Hmm.
can, the rooftop. I think that view is amazing.
Yeah.
So probably Clough. But I would also say my favorite building to look at is not on campus, but it's the Bank of America building because
Yeah.
it's just I
Yeah.
love that in
Yep.
the background. And so, but yeah, probably. And I've been in the library recently, and the Crossland Towers and up
Hmm.
on the rooftop up there, it's pretty cool. I haven't been in Coda, so I'd love to be in Coda. I think maybe some of my um
Coda is fun.
votes would
I
some
just
of
got
my
to go in
votes
there
might
recently.
change. Yeah, some of
I
my
just got
votes might change, but
yeah.
that's right now.
That was a new view of campus I had not seen before when I went up there too. So
It's high too, like from what
oh
I
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
so maybe not.
You get
I might get a little
you
vertigo.
realize how many trees are on campus when you go to the top floor there. You don't really get that on
Yeah.
top of Crosland because you're at least still
Yeah.
at
In it.
you're in it and like you can see a lot of the athletics part of campus where
Uh-huh.
there's fewer trees. But when you get all the way up on top of Coda, it's like oh
Yeah.
you can't see half the campus because it's just trees at this point, which is good I guess too.
Yeah. No,
But
and I like the CRC too. 'Cause you can go up there and there's a couple good views. You can see like Mercedes Benz and you just get
yeah.
good perspective, right? And I like when I can see like, oh, this is the whole place, right? Like
I made
I
the
appreciate it.
mistake of not going there when they were imploding the Georgia Dome, where a lot of people went because you would have
Mm,
seen a
yeah.
fantastic view of it. I just watched it. I watched it on my live stream, in my
Yeah.
dorm on West
Missed
Campus,
opportunity.
but I felt the ground shaking, and then it showed up on my screen when it had happened. So it was really
Wow.
interesting. Like, oh, that
You're
was a
like it
minor
happened.
earthquake. Yeah, that happened. But
Yep.
no, it's great. Anyways, Georgia Tech softball gets rolling February 8th against Villanova, and there's a whole stacked weekend of games against the Wildcats and then the Alabama Crimson Tide before they go to Clearwater. Aileen Morales, thank you so much for coming back on, helping us preview the season. We will certainly be in attendance for as many games as we can be there for.
Hey Jack, we appreciate it. Thanks again and looking forward to it.